Hear that?
No,
That's the sound of some great answers coming right at you. Let's do
I
this.
didn't hear that.
Come on, man. I'm trying to be like
I didn't.
confident.
I heard a sound of silence.
First question, hey Ryan, what's the best option to choose when working together with unmotivated colleagues? Look for another group with the chance to learn something or invest time in getting everyone on the same page and motivated? What's your opinion about working with people that slow you down? If you're working with a whole lot of unmotivated people that are slowing you down, then you're probably working with people that don't have the passion to move forward in the thing that you're trying to move forward in, so they're just gonna hold you back completely in every avenue of the thing you're trying to do. You're just going to be pulling these people along to try to get them to do what you want them to do. You need to surround yourself with people that are like-minded and passionate and are going to push you forward, not pull you backwards. You always want to surround yourself with as much people as possible that you have to try to keep up with, not try to force them to keep up with you. So if it was me, I would probably just lose all of them and move on to other people, and then maybe some of them might be, shaken awake by that and then work harder or not, but I would definitely start looking for people that were more along the lines of the passion that I had. Hi Ryan, I'm working on planning my future after college in the film industry. In your opinion, is there any value in moving to a smaller production city where the cost of living is lower before New York or LA, or would that just be an unnecessary delay? Thanks. Unfortunately, there isn't one right answer for this. It completely depends on you and what it is that you're trying to do. Just like the last question, if you're not trying to do it completely by yourself, if you're trying to be a part of that system with a team making the thing, then you really need to get yourself around people that are doing that you can plug into and learn from and gain experience. There's a lot of places that do have that. Dallas has a pretty good film community. Austin has a great film community. Houston has an up-and-coming film community. New Orleans has one. There's a great community in Georgia. So there are states that do have those communities there that are building up that aren't as expensive as New York or LA. But if what you're trying to do is really plug yourself in and collaborate, you gotta make sure where you're moving to has that community for you to plug into. Otherwise, you're just gonna be completely on your own, and that could end up meaning you're gonna just sit stagnant and not grow the way you want. Yo Ryan, I'm about to start my very first short film. It's a horror movie, and I was wondering what were some of the things you thought about or remembered to do when shooting your latest horror shorts? Thanks. I think horror is a lot like comedy, whereas what I find scary, not everyone is going to find scary. What I find funny, not everyone's going to find funny. I think there's a lot of sort of parallels with comedy and horror, especially with the pacing and the beats. Any scare moment is really the punchline to the setup of, a comedic joke. You have the setup and then you have the punchline, people laugh. You have the setup, then you have the scare moment, people jump. It's sort of like the same thing. And within that idea, what I'm trying to say is what you find scary, I might not. So exactly how I do things probably won't fully translate over to the way you do things unless you have the exact sensibility in horror as I do. But for me, it's about thinking back to when I was younger and I had like a little bit of an issue with fear that I had to overcome over time, and thinking about those things that really terrified me and kept me up late at night, and then using that. I mean, I think one of the main reasons I love horror is because it's an outlet to kind of remember those feelings, remember those debilitating moments that I can now put on screen, remember how that made me feel, and okay, how do I take that emotion and then turn it into something tangible that somebody else can now watch and sort of relate to the way that I felt. That's kind of my process in a way, but I also think it comes from a lot of experience. You try, see how it works, try again, see how it works. You're never gonna grab the right tool right away when you do anything. It's gonna be a matter of trying different ones till you finally find the one that does work, and then you can utilize it more often. So, I mean, maybe even test scenes might be a good idea. There was one scene in Ghost House that I did do an animatic for, just to test out the pacing to make sure that my idea was gonna work before I went on set. So even though I've done it a bunch before, I still wanted to test out an idea to make sure that it was gonna land before we showed up on set. Sup baby boo, since you just shot 2 shorts back to back, how important is the role of the first AD? I just started film school and had to be the first AD on a project and just realized how important, if not crucial, that role is. It's all kinds of important, and I haven't had an AD more than I've had one, and they're instrumental in making sure that everything's moving the way it's supposed to. More often than not, I've had to be my own AD, or somebody else was wearing several hats, one of them being sort of an AD hat, that, and that just doesn't work. You need someone dedicated to that role, especially when you get into bigger productions and you have background and all sorts of stuff. Having a first AD and a second second, all this stuff is really important to make sure everything's moving the way it has to, especially since I no longer have to worry about time. I no longer have to worry about if we're making our days or not. That's what they're there for. And if it's somebody I trust, I can unload that burden on them and just focus on the creativity of everything and just working with my actors and make sure I'm getting what I need to be getting, because they're off setting things up for me so I don't have to. Looking at upgrading from my Canon 6D, should I get an Ursa Mini 4.6K or the Canon 100 Mark II? The C100 Mark II, I think overall is the better camera, but with the Ursa, you are getting 4K. So if 4K is really important to you, I would go with the Ursa Mini. But if it's not, I would go with the C100 Mark II, because that is just an all-in-one camera. It has built-in NDs, beautiful image. The internal sound is fantastic. It's what we're currently shooting on. Actually, it's the Mark I that we're shooting on. We still shoot with our C100 Mark I for FilmRiot. So I really love this camera. We don't do a ton of 4K. FilmRiot's usually done in 1080. So it works perfectly for us. So you really just got to ask yourself, do I need the 4K right now, or am I happy with just standard HD for now? If you want to go with the 4K, then I would go with the Ursa Mini. If not, I would definitely go with the C100 Mark II. Last question, can you name the top 3 qualities a director should have? I think that's an impossible question to answer, because there are more than 3 qualities that I think a director definitely needs to have to really be able to be effective on set and get what they want. But if I had to, gun to my head, off the top of my head, I would say confidence, decisiveness, and empathy. Working in the film industry can be an exciting and rewarding experience, but if you don't know how to get involved or aren't quite sure what role you want to take on, Full Sail University can help you out. Full Sail offers film degrees on campus and online that really show you what it's like to work on a film from start to finish. You even get to work hands-on with the same equipment the professionals use. The campus undergraduate film program introduces you to the different roles involved in filmmaking, so you can figure out if you're more of an editor, director, or even a camera operator. And also check out the online digital cinematography degree, where you can learn film basics with a modern digital spin. Or maybe you already have film experience and you're ready to take your skills to the next level. You can build a graduate level portfolio and perfect your technique with the film graduate degree. Full Sail grads have gone on to work on films like Avengers Age of Ultron, Minions, Jurassic World, Frozen, and a ton more. If you want to find out more about these film programs and how to get started, visit fullsail.edu/FilmRiot. So that's it for today, which means it's time for my suggestion of the week. This one is a documentary about Brian De Palma. It's basically just like a 2-hour-long interview with Brian De Palma about his career. There's so many great nuggets of wisdom and knowledge to be had in this thing. It's on iTunes. You can find a link to it in the notes below. And don't forget about our Black Friday sale coming up. If you haven't seen the ad, check it out in the links below as well, with a bunch of info on the crazy sales that we have coming. Until next week, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.